this clip here, it's a touchdown by the Giants, a flea flicker. It's a 3rd and 2, and when I evaluate short yardage football, I'm looking for leverage, surface creation, and how each side uses formation to declare intent or manipulate fits, right? And this is a good example of how a subtle adjustment in the alignment can change the entire geometry of the play. So offensively, you see here the Giants are in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 tight end is the second tight end here, number 82. I'm going to talk about here in a second. Under center offset I structure and a I formation. To me, the key here isn't just identifying personnel. To me, first, it's understanding the functional stress this grouping is applying, right? And we have a true tight end anchored to the left side of the formation here. But the critical piece here I'm going to talk about is number 82, this second tight end in a sniffer or H-back look. And that alignment creates 3 immediate threats that pop up in my head. It's a downhill ISO or insert, it's a kick out on a force defender, or it could be a wrap on a power scheme. The defense can't key depth to determine the play family, and it's transitional. So it can become a strong insert, a weak insert, or a horizontal displacement tool depending on the flow of the back. And behind the quarterback, you can see here the halfback is at a true dot position. That maintains the full menu downhill, wide zone, weak zone, gap concepts. They all remain available. So as we said about the personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, and something I also want to add on to this is Daniel Bellinger, number 82, that tight end, him acting as that fullback. You see on film, he's not that blocking tight end, right? He's the second tight end. He's a tight end they don't use for blocking. I mean, it's not me who decides, it's film. Catch, and he's a tight end who's as good as the first tight end. And you see him catch, so him being at that position, you're kind of assuming a run, but you're not 100% sure it's a run. Like for sure, if I was coaching there, I'm definitely saying it's a play action or a flea flicker. And the reason why I say that is my offensive plays I have as an offensive coordinator are deeply inspired by top-tier offensive mind, especially Ben Johnson. When I studied Ben Johnson to try become a clone of one of these guys, I know Ben Johnson has plays where it's like you see that tight end, that second tight end. He had Cole Kmet at the Detroit Lions. He had a second tight end come in as a fullback in an insert motion or just be there pre-snap without any motion. Offensive coordinators do it intentionally. A second tight end who isn't good at blocking, or I'm not going to put Cole Kmet, who's known for making plays downfield, to block, as opposed to putting a real fullback there, or a third tight end, or a blocking tight end in general. And that's where scouting reports on players come in handy. And that's where small mistakes really reveal themselves. If they knew 82, like they should, I don't know. I'm not going to really go into this blaming thing. It's not my style. Let's get into the defense. I see defensively the Detroit Lions responding with a 5-man bear front. And I think they were 100% sure it was a run. Speaking of educatedly guessing what it could be offensively. But they show a 5-man bear front, which is the correct structural answer to heavy surface football. But, I mean, you're kind of exposing yourself to the play action here, daydreaming yourself to a pass here. They're essentially trying to eliminate vertical displacement across the interior. I know what their intent is. You see the nose tackle here because he's to the left of the center here, as you can see. Then there's the left defensive tackle here to your left side here in a 3-tech, because you can see here he's to the inside of the offensive guard, right? Then there's the outside linebacker who's in a 7-tech. You can see how he's outside near the D-gap, outside the tight end. And then you can go to the other side where there's the other defensive end on the other side who's in a 5-tech, and then the tackle next to him. And then you can see the right defensive tackle who's in a 2-tech, as you can see. And I'm also looking at the back end here, and they rotate between middle closed structure here. So you're saying it's either a cover 3 sky or a man free depending on the safety's final. And on the back end here, and I'm looking at the back end here to the down of your screen here, you see Brian Branch in the box here. So you're thinking it's a cover 3 sky or it's a man free. And both allow them to keep the box fully intact while still covering the immediate play action threats in case that comes in with the heavy personnel. But even in that case, you would have linebacker types trying to cover number 17 and number 18 here, who are both wide receiver types. Plus, you have less coverage near the flats. And then pre-snap, I'm thinking they're gonna be so weak in the flats, right? Because they don't have anybody to cover the flats great. Or they're gonna send them the linebackers cover the flats. That's when I can hit a crosser and its first or second window here. And what matters to me as a play caller is the interaction between the offensive surface and the defensive front. The offense builds a 3-point surface with the inline tight end, the tackle, and the halfback. The defense answers by covering the surface with 9 techs, 5 techs, and a stacked backer. So now the question becomes, where is the leverage advantage, right? Because in this specific formation, the leverage advantage occurs on the inside hip of the 5 tech on the play side here. And when you force a bare front to hold its width against a sniffer, you create a natural crease if you can displace the 5 tech laterally and wrap the halfback to the next level of the defense here. And by the way, if you like the angles, you run power or you run insert. But if the defense overcommits to the strong surface, the weak side B gap becomes structurally light, right? And if they spin down to fit it, you will definitely have an immediate shot opportunity off hard play action. Looking at this, and I'm looking at the play here, and something that crosses my mind as well is these are the type of situations where offensive control is established by formation, not the volume of plays. When you dictate surface, you're dictating spacing, and when you dictate spacing, you dictate fits. And when you dictate fits, you control the defensive response before the ball is even snapped. And this is a prime example of using 12 personnel not to get bigger bodies on the field, but to force the defense to declare and commit structure. Once the defense declares, you know that the offense knows where the leverage is. And by the way, the reason I got a bit too hyped up here, and I got hyped up because when you look at the offensive coach the coach who's an offensive mind got fired. Brian Dable, the interim coach, got fired. And the reason why I'm hyped up right now is you see these offensive assistants or these offensive play callers. Like if I hopefully got into coaching someday, which is my dream, I mean, best case scenario, I'm being an offensive assistant. I mean, getting to the peak of the ladder is going to take time. I acknowledge that. But when you see someone in that position where he's on the offensive staff, he's trying to become a coach, but it's like the odds are so stacked against him, and you see him pull something like this and and perform offensively like this, you know these guys have an offensive mind. The work they put in, because I personally put that work in, and I personally know what it takes to be a head coach. And even if I do, I'm still gonna be an offensive staff, even if I prove it. And the fact that this guy, I'm trying to be this guy right here, and the fact that he's where I want to be, which is a situation where he's nowhere near the head coach. But I mean, in this case, he is. But I mean, because they fired their head coach. But I mean, or like when there was a head coach and when there were staff, he was kind of below them, and now he's trying, and now he has the chance to prove what he has and what he knows and what he was working for all his life. That gets me going, and that's what I want personally. That's why I've been working like 7 years watching film. I'm gonna make a separate video about me. This isn't about me. This is about the play, but it gets me hyped knowing that these guys, when they have the chance to show what they got, And it's getting me. It has me crying right now, man. It's just awesome. Like they like when they get their they get their opportunity, and they take off, and that's all I want. Next play.